This guy's been Tom Cowan. He has been on my radar for some time now, in regards to a truth seeker, grifter person. He is a disgraced MD that basically started grifting during the pandemic. Of course, what's new? He earned his medical degree in Michigan State University in 1984. He ran an alternative medicine practice until July 2020 in San Francisco. And then Cowan was disciplined and put on probation by the Medical Board of California in 2017 after he prescribed medication for breast cancer without informing the patient that it had not been approved by medical authorities, and even without reviewing her medical file. So, legitimately a bad person. He was a grifter before they were COVID grifters. The probation period was due to end in 2022, but he renounced his medical license in December 2020 to become an unregulated health coach. He left California and continues to sell supplements through a website. So this guy is a huge problem. This guy on the right, he is genuinely a bad person. Cowan is a member of the board of directors of the Weston Ace Price Foundation. He served as vice president of the Physicians Association for Anthroposophical Medicine. He pushes conspiracies. Cowan has argued against the widely accepted scientific view that pathogens cause a variety of diseases. He is a virus denier. And he promoted conspiracy theories about the COVID pandemic, claiming 5G wireless communications are responsible for making people sick. So, a video of Cowan's claims about COVID-19 and 5G made at an anti-vaccine conference, which also featured Andrew Wakefield, quickly gained widespread audience when it was promoted by multiple Facebook accounts. This is where I've basically encountered him. He's gone on and been a big element. Everyone references them because I'm basically really big in this. In the Facebook conspiracy world, I am that I get tons of comments on there, and they're all recommending this guy, that I need to learn what this guy says. That's how I found out about him, and that's why we are going through this stuff and putting this guy to task. It was viewed at least 650,000 times on YouTube before getting taken down. And it was also popular on Instagram, where Carrie Hilson promoted it to 2.3 million fans before deleting the post. So this guy's just a bad person. The WHO amongst publications, the health advice Cowan dispenses through his books is often based on pseudoscience theories, such as denying viruses cause disease. So we're going through it. This is what we are talking about. This is what we do. Dispatch and discredit these people that are harming our public health systems, our way of life, because they are bad people. Remember, there is no alternative medicine, guys. You have proven scientific medicine that is proven through studies. And then you have whatever these guys push, which is just like, as he put, he was prescribing medication for breast cancer without even informing the patient that had not been approved by medical authorities, and without reviewing her medical file. So what? Think about that for a second. All right, so let's get into it.
To the Easy Conversations podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to understanding the role of alternative medicine, not only for myself, but also for the listeners, because there's a lot of focus on that. But I don't think people fully appreciate the role alternative medicine plays and some of the impacts we're seeing in society today with chronic illnesses and immune issues. So I'm hoping to uncover that. But before...
In any problem that you would find, no solution would be found with what this guy's pushing. I'm sorry, Annette, that you have breast cancer, but nothing in the alternative space is going to help you solve that. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have a lot of people now pushing pseudoscience on you because you're going to be a political and ideological pawn in their eyes, that you can do discredited science in order to prove these people wrong and prove the FDA is a bunch of cowards and the pharmaceutical companies are wrong and all this kind of stuff. But just remember that these people do not care about your life, Annette. They do not care about your life. They are willing to sacrifice your life actually in order to push discredited and unreviewed, unscientific kits or packages that they have already subscribed to. They already think this is cures everything, and you are just all on that list.
We jump into that. I do.
Good, Annette. I take chemo and I won't do it any other way. I agree with you. Nice, Annette. Good. Thank you for saying that. And I'm sorry what you're going through, and I'm sorry that there are people that are out there that are trying to take advantage of your condition. So
I want to give you an opportunity to share with the listeners a little bit about yourself and what's brought you here, especially including your background.
Okay. So
like, this guy is so, what is this guy's attitude, man? Like, even still, this guy is just, okay, like, who is this? Like, wild, man. This is a year ago.
basically, I had a fairly nondescript upbringing and went to college, didn't really like it very much. So I tried to think of something to do. So I joined the Peace Corps to teach gardening in Africa. I did that. Interestingly, while I was there, I happened to stumble across the work of some people who essentially showed me that the kind of medicine that I was familiar with, that we all grew up with, and the kind of medicine that I would have thought I was going into if I went to medical school was not the only kind of medicine there is. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was just family medicine. And throughout this whole time,
easy conversations. I don't know who these people are, Ducre. I don't understand why. I mean, they are such a problem. Like, we have a huge problem in this country and in society and culture in general, is that we have people that are so hungry for clout and attention that they are willing to platform and talk to discredited people like Cowan here on the right. And what happens is they don't know anything about whatever. They're excited to have a guest on because they have low subscribers, 1.5 thousand subscribers. And now this guy gets a platform to do harm. And it's very cyclical, right? These guys get someone that's in the space. They get someone that's quote unquote famous. And there's no regulation for this, right? There's like in normal, journalistic standards, there would be some type of standardized like question, background, all that kind of stuff. But this guy's just basically going to do an hour of softball biographical questions to see, how it is and what his thoughts are. And whoa, this is, they're just going to bloviate for an hour and he's not going to have any pushback.
my interest was what in conventional medicine, but not just medicine, biology, physics, is actually true.
We have studies to do that.
And so I started investigating different subjects and then eventually writing books about it. Because what I discovered is you could put it isn't like I said, oh, there's a few things that aren't right. I can't even think of pretty much anything in standard society, medicine, economics, politics, that is right.
Yeah.
So,
what? He can't think of anything in standard society that is correct. Anything that's been proven with studies, anything that's been proven in, like, what? Think about all the ways and the ways that science has improved your life through mechanistic understanding and the ability and the quality of life that has gone from where you were born, when you were born, to where you are now. And this guy can't find a single thing that is correct. Like, really, dude? That's also a telltale sign, guys. When you have expertise, you're willing to say I don't know about something, and you're willing to say when you're correct and when you're not. When people are lying to you, they take absolute 100% statements and they put them all the way there. Like this guy, he's willing to say, I have never seen anything that's been improving in your life in modern medicine. Like, how could you say that? How could that possibly be true, guys? Come on. There's no way.
So as an example, I wrote a book, The Heart Doesn't Pump the Blood. That's obvious. Blocked arteries don't cause heart attacks, even though there's a $50 billion a year industry to unblock people's arteries so they don't have heart attacks. Cancer has nothing to do with genetics.
Oh.
Vaccines are neither safe nor effective. You mentioned how do people help their immune system. Turns out there is no immune system. They made that up to get people.
I mean, how... Like, just one claim after another claim after another claim of just absolute dribble, man. How could he just say that with a straight face? Like, how does that make any sense? How does any of that make any sense? And this guy is just eating it up. Like, ha ha ha. So funny, dude. How crazy. Like, what? And yet here we are, where this guy, like that is a wild set of statements to make. And here and there he goes. It just blows my mind.
To think there's viruses and why some people get sick from viruses.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Doesn't think that viruses are real.
People to think there's virus system. Turns out there is no immune system. They made that up.
So he doesn't think that the immune system is real, and he thinks that because the raging tomato. I was just changing that title. So he doesn't think that the immune system is real, and then because he thinks that they made up the immune system, now they have to make up viruses because of that. That's what this guy is thinking.
Get people to think there's viruses and why some people get sick from viruses and other people don't, because it turns out it's very easy to demonstrate there's no such thing as a virus, for instance. And bacteria don't make you sick. So the germ theory was a bunch of nonsense. And DNA has nothing to do with heredity. DNA doesn't even code for proteins. There's no.
What? DNA doesn't code for proteins. What is that? I've actually not heard. Okay. There is the Lysenko element, right? Where it's like this Lysenkoism that DNA doesn't cause heredity. But like the idea that this guy, I don't think that he's making this thing. I don't think that he's coming from it in that angle. I think that he's coming at it from a different angle. That DNA, that modern stuff is wrong. Can you still hear me? Tomato?
No ribosomes. There's no.
Can you hear me now? Oh, okay, good.
Lipid bilayer cell membranes.
Wait, what?
Go on.
Wait. He doesn't think that there's a lipid bilayer?
And DNA has nothing to do with heredity. DNA doesn't even code for proteins. There's no ribosomes. There's no
ribosomes? What? What is this? Who believes this, man? How is this correct?
Lipid bilayer cell membranes.
There's no cell membranes, guys. There's no cell membranes.
I could go on and on. Yeah. And I don't expect anybody to believe me. But the problem, as I see it now we're almost 50 years into this quest, is we live in a profoundly scientifically illiterate population.
Holy shit.
And unfortunately, some of the most illiterate people are.
Guys, this guy went to medical school and he graduated in 1987. Okay. This is before like molecular biology as a field. Okay. And this guy's coming in with these takes that are completely unfounded. Like the idea that there's no ribosome, there's no lipid bilayer. What could you possibly? It's unfathomable. It's unfathomably stupid.
The medical doctors and the scientists. And my hypothesis, I guess you would call it, is that's a
yes. He went to medical school in 1987, which is one of the problems, guys. I'm telling you, this problem isn't solved with education necessarily, because we have someone here that has a Tom Cowan. It's someone that has education. He has background. He has the problem is that there always is going to be someone like this that has the credentials, that has the backup. Now it's like this guy being propped up by the algorithms, by the conspiracy theorists, by that stuff. Just educating the public isn't in and of itself going to fix this problem. It's just not.
Problem.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can't prove that's a problem, but I think that's a problem when you have the people running the health policy, science endeavors, etc., who don't even know the basics about science. Not even the basics.
Says this guy.
And that's a real problem.
Says this guy.
Because you live in basically a culture that's based on superstition. Or this guy I used to know, Derek Jensen, wrote a book called The Culture of Make-Believe. And that's essentially what we are. The money's make-believe.
Oh my God.
The wars are all make-believe. Not that people aren't getting killed. They are. There are wars, but the reasons are just made up.
Bro, your guy runs the government. That's my favorite part about this, is that these guys are running the government right now. So who in their mind is dictating RFK and telling RFK not to blow the lid on all this stuff, not to make this whole thing out and show everyone that, oh my gosh, all this stuff was real and we're unmasking we're finally going to unmask this. Who is actually running from this? 1984.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what you're alluding to here is
I was Tomato. Yeah, I did say I watched the evolution debate that you were having. Yeah, it was interesting. It was good.
The stories that we tell ourselves to follow along, right? There's a narrative there that people obviously have an emotional reaction to, and then they tend to respond to that.
Emotional reaction.
I'm curious to understand, because you've stated a lot of things here, whether it's vaccines being effective or not, the whole immune system idea being made up, cancer, some of the claims you made there. So how have you been able to come to these understandings? What type of work have you had to go through to come to these conclusions?
Hey, what's up, man?
I use facts, science, and logic.
Facts, science, and logic, guys. That's okay. Whenever someone says they just use facts and logic in science, they are not a scientist. Because the whole point of science is that the whole mechanism of our basis of understanding is that hypotheses are wrong, right? Our intuition and how we go through and how we think something is what it is a lot of times incorrect, right? That's the whole point, that we have to better understand through research how this stuff is happening. So the idea is just I can just facts and logic my way through it, man. No, you cannot. And that is the reason why this guy is not a research scientist. He has no idea how to do these experiments, and that's why he doesn't do them in order to show what he's saying, right? There is a lot of unintuitive things in science. That's the whole reason why things don't work the first time. That's why 95% of experiments fail. That's why reproducibility in science is hard to happen, and once it does happen, it's a big deal that it is reproducible. So again, this guy, the idea, these grifters and snake oil salesmen, they always talk in absolutes, guys. They always talk in absolutes, and you can see it. All right, see it, Tomato. Have a good one. Thank you.
Okay.
And when you do that, you come to some interesting conclusions. So for instance, the first principle that I would say, which I didn't understand for years until...
Dude, guys, have you seen the edits here? Are you guys seeing the edits? Like watch when he gets up here. There's lots of jump edits here.
Conclusions.
Watch him.
I use facts, science, and logic.
Okay.
And when you do that, you come to some interesting conclusions. So, for instance, the first principle that I would say, which I didn't understand for years until maybe even 5 years ago, but I was doing it even though I didn't really understand it, is the foundational principle of science, or one of them, is science is an endeavor where people make a claim or a hypothesis, and then they try to falsify that hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a competing theories, and then you have some sort of vote as to which one is right. Your old Asian-looking fellow, your parents are both Caucasian.
What?
And you always wondered about that. And then one day you're rummaging through your parents' closet and you find adoption papers.
What?
Now, and then you go look at them and it's clear you were adopted from China, in an orphanage. And then you go to your parents and you ask them, because you've never seen a picture of your mother pregnant. And you say, is this true? And
What?
they say, yes, you were adopted. We were waiting until you were older to tell you, etc. But yes, it's true.
What is this analogy?
Then you go to your best friend and you say, wow, I just found out I was adopted today. And, I'm a little shook up. And he says, so who are your real parents? You say, I don't know. I just found out I was adopted. They say I was from some orphanage. And he says, until you tell me who your real parents are, I don't believe you were adopted. Now, I think I can tell from the smile on your face, that is a illogical, illiterate person, because it obviously has nothing to do with it. Right?
What?
You know how many times medical doctors and other people I've said, there's no evidence that there's a virus of any sort, including SARS-CoV-2, the alleged cause of COVID.
What an idiot.
And the next thing out of their mouth is, so what causes COVID? In other words, who are your real parents?
Guys, how science works, especially in a medicine capacity, is that we research the mechanism of how something happens, and then the medicine, because of our understanding of that basic mechanism, we are then able to create new tools from that. Okay? That in the studies are understanding, and the approval process is basically making sure that the medicines that are changing or attacking or are using that mechanism aren't impacting anything else in the body. That's what we're doing. So medicines happen at the mechanistic level, guys. It's not like this. What's happened? We don't. Are viruses, SARS-CoV-2 causing this? I don't know. Let's just make up something and say something. It is. It's like, no. We drilled down from COVID-19, which was this respiratory disease that we were seeing, and then we isolated the virus that was causing that, introduced that into another organism, and it caused the same thing. And then we looked at the genetics of them to confirm that it was the same virus in each of those cases that has been isolated. So we know on each of them that the virus caused both of those. It's so obvious. We've done this so many times throughout history. This is Koch's postulates. This is something that microbiology has done for over 150 years. I mean, the idea and just the complete way that he's dismissing the entire field of microbiology is just fascinating. To be that to speak in such strong absolutes is truly remarkably stupid.
Right. Is, so what causes COVID? In other words, who are your real parents?
Right.
Now, that has nothing to do with, there is a specific claim on the table. Let's go through the claim. The claim is there is an entity, a physical entity, not an idea or a thought or a conception, a physical particle called a virus,
Yes.
and it's found in sick people and is the cause of their sickness and makes well people sick, right? That is the claim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree?
It's true.
Now, the first step in that is, so we have to investigate the claim. We don't need to know why people get sick. That maybe comes later. But that is a very specific thing, like you were adopted. You either were or you weren't. It has nothing to do with who your real parents are. So the first thing you would say is, okay, is it true that sick people or animals make well people sick? We've all seen that. Our child went to a chickenpox party and they got chickenpox, allegedly, or Aunt Fred, Uncle Harry got sick, and then Aunt Hilda got sick, and then I came home and I went over to their house and I got sick. So people say, yes, sick people make well people sick, right? Based on their observation.
Right.
Now,
but I mean, not necessarily, right? I mean, we do see asymptomatic spread with SARS-CoV-2, and viruses have natural reservoirs like bats, for example. Bats aren't going to have COVID because they have SARS-CoV-2 inside of them. They don't have SARS-CoV-2, the one, you know, they have coronaviruses, right? But the coronaviruses, you know, the pieces don't necessarily make them sick in order to make us sick. You know, it is like, it's a little bit more complicated than what he's talking about, but it's, yeah. Yes, Rebel, exactly.
If you put that into a principle and say, is it true that if two or more people or animals get sick with the same symptoms, same time, same place, that means something was passed from one to the other, right?
Yep.
That's the principle.
Right.
So is that true or not?
Logically, yes.
Logically, yes. Okay, so I put 100 rats in the basement, and then I put rat poison down there, and the next day 10 rats all bleed to death, same symptoms, same time, same place. So in other words, according to your logic, rat poison is a contagious illness.
The difference is that there isn't a mechanism that would make and produce more rat poison inside the basement. The viral particles have a known mechanism to replicate inside the body, causing more viral particles, causing it to spread. Okay? There is no mechanism that a that a rat poison can self-replicate. Right? I mean, it's just, I mean, come on, man. This is so simple. This is so simple.
No, not in that case.
So it turns out that principle is incorrect.
Yes.
Oh,
You can't tell.
Oh my God.
Just because two or more people or animals get sick with the same symptoms in the same time in the same place, that is an observation which has many different possible explanations.
Oh my
Could be a
God.
virus, could be a bacteria, could be something in the air, could be emotional, could be biological
Emotional.
resonance, whatever the hell that is. Could be a lot of things. So if you want to sort that out, you have to run a scientific experiment where
Yes.
the sick people are the independent variable. In other words, you put same room, same emotional thing, same everything. One room, 10 people with chickenpox, and 10 people who don't have chickenpox, or one, or whatever. And so the only thing you change is the people who are sick, or the animals, and they're the ones who are supposed to make the well people or animals sick.
And we do that. That's the second postulate of Koch's postulates. That is literally, first you isolate it, second you introduce it into another set of organisms to see if it actually creates the same symptoms as the person that you were diseased with at the first one. Like we understand this. Like this is literally what we do. That happens. Like there are rats, there are mice, there are hominids and stuff. Not hominids, sorry, excuse me. Like apes and stuff that people use. Yes, this is exactly what we do. He's describing what studies are. The Koch's postulate studies are.
And you would know that study has been done at least 200 times with colds, flus, chickenpox, whooping cough, kennel cough, and a bunch of other ones. Every single one of them came to the same result, which is there is no such thing as contagion.
What? What? That's literally been done, and how can he say that? How can he make that claim? Like, he's just denying the facts of the cases now. Now he's just denying the results, just straight up.
There is not a single study published in the medical literature that shows that if you make a proper scientific study, that anybody with a
Oh,
cold.
there you go. Proper. That's it. His thing. That's his thing. Proper. So now he's going to say, "Oh no, they're not done exactly in my way." So then do your own experiment and show that viral particles don't exist, dude. Like, just do your experiment that you want, that you think is so strong, and just show what it is. Like, show how diseases are spread. Like, how if it's a vitamin deficiency or something like that, show that. Let's see that experiment.
Or chicken pox makes a person who doesn't have it sick.
Yeah, Waterproof Sky. He doesn't think that viruses are real. This guy on the right thinks he's an MD, disgraced MD, that thinks that viral particles are created, that are fabricated by scientists because the immune system's fake, so that they had to create the viral particles in order for us to believe that the immune system is real.
And if anybody's listening out there and says, "Oh, this Tom guy, he's crazy as hell," I don't want your opinion about my mental status.
I will.
I want you to send me a study properly done that shows that there is such a phenomenon. Because I can guarantee you it doesn't exist. In another,
I mean, again, dude, like, imagine this guy literally hasn't been in a class since molecular biology and genetics has been like revolutionized. So he has literally no idea what he's talking about, like legitimately zero. So he's like denying the entire field of molecular biology. This is just crazy. Why have him on? I mean, the guy on the left is just a random podcaster that's trying to get clout and trying to, get his podcast off the floor. And he's, farming this alternative medicine space. And that's the danger of this Maha movement stuff. This is the danger, because the people on the right, Tom is crazy, right? We all know that. And the problem is that this guy on the right, he's part of the people that are actually running the government right now. He is literally helping run our entire HHS. So it's incredibly dangerous.
In other words, so this idea that most people have been basing their life on, and is the base of COVID, right? That there's this contagious particle. It's a disproven hypothesis.
No, literally not.
Yeah.
Literally,
No.
like why would there be all these guys? Think about this for a second. Just think about this. Why would there be? Okay, how could there be all of these viral particles that exists all throughout the world, that have all these how could a virus be across the world in really high proportions? How could it just manifest? How could all these different viruses across all these countries, how could they all happen? Think about it. Think about it. How would that even be possible? So all of these things are just, oh man, Next Strain doesn't have the COVID information anymore. They had to take it down. Oh, there it is. Like, if this is true, okay, if this is true, why is it global? If it's just a random, like, someone getting sick, okay, why does the sequence, the viral sequence in Oregon match Egypt, match Turkey, match Japan, match Australia, match Brazil? You would have, like, these people that have these particles from their deficiencies, right? These particles would match the host. They wouldn't match each other. But the only way that we can match all these sequences together is as if there is a viral contagion that is spreading across the globe, guys. There's no other possible way. There just isn't. So the idea that he's just discounting all of these different strains, all of these sequences, all of these different researchers doing all this stuff, he's basically saying that this is a global conspiracy with tens of millions of scientists conspiring together in order to do this. It's just It's fantastical to a level that you can't even, the coordination and the amount of, scientific, like, hoodwinking. It's just unfathomable. Like you would get at least someone in some country to blow the lid on this thing. You just would, guys. Come on.
So then you move on and say, here's the next thing. Okay, so what about this virus? They say there's this particle that you can't see that is.
We see it. We see it. Oh my God, that we can't see. Again, he doesn't even understand. Like, he doesn't even understand SEM, AFM. We can see this stuff. What is he talking about? You can't even see it. He's not in the HHS, but his ideology is, guys. I don't think Cowan actually works for the HHS, but RFK hires people like this guy. Some people like this are running the HHS right now.
The agent of contagion. First of all, we already know there's no such thing as contagion. So that would be weird if there was a particle that's the agent of it, since it already doesn't exist. But then you say, okay, doctor, and everybody should go to their family doctor and say, doctor, explain to me how a virologist shows that a virus exists and causes illness. Mm-hmm. Simple question. It's a basic.
Why would a physician be a research scientist? This is what it's so frustrating to me. The conflation of a physician with a research scientist. Why do people think that they are the same? Your physician is not a research scientist. The experimentation, when it comes to the physician, is not an experimentation. The experimentation has already been done when it's gotten to your physician. It is a medicine at that point, and they are not experimenting on you. Okay? Like, they are practicing medicine in the fact that they are taking the best possible route for you at all times and administering the correct medical pathway for you. The correct medical pathway that they can see, right? But they are not research scientists. So why would a physician necessarily know the exact pathway or research scientist that a virologist uses in order to do these things? It's fantastical.
Of their exists and causes illness. Mm-hmm. Simple question. It's a basis of their practice, basically, right? Mm-hmm. They won't know. I didn't know 5 years ago.
Right.
I knew something was up, but I didn't know the details. And then if you say, can you find in any way and isolate a virus from the...
Rebel, you pull that up every single time and we go through it, and I dismantle it every time, bro. I don't know, like, maybe you just close the app, but I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Fluid or tissues from any sick person. In other words, if you say, are there frogs, where we expect to find frogs, right? We make a definition of a frog. Mm-hmm. We go to a pond, we get a net, fish it out, and if there's a thing that looks like a frog, we say we have a frog, and then we separate the frog from the pond, and then we can study the frog. Mm-hmm. We do that with flies. We do it with nanoparticles. Mm-hmm. We do.
What the hell? Keep my thesis out of your goddamn mouth, dude.
With chemicals, we deal with everything. The only difference is how we separate it or how we find it, right? A cat you would find a different way, and a frog this way, and a bacteria this way, etc. You say, can you do that with a virus? Go to the ecosystem, in other words, the fluids of a sick person, and isolate out a virus from that person.
Yes.
Or the fluid from a chickenpox vesicle. Here's statement number 2.
Yes.
That's never been done.
Oh my God, dude. What? We literally do that. That is what the CDC does. We go, oh my God, dude. We go to these coronaviruses and we extract their genomes from the bats in the caves in China. And then we do population genetics on them. That is something that we do. Bat coronavirus population genetics, China, SARS-CoV-2 origins. it's so frustrating to me, the idea that these people are just completely discrediting science that they don't even know about, they never even seen, they've never even read about, and now you're gonna just discredit entire fields. The guy has never done any genetics in his life, and yet he's going to sit there and discredit the entire field of population genetics. Like, what? Like, how could anyone be this daft? I am so wow. Here we go, guys. I'll show it to you because nobody else wants to show it to you. Here it is. So not only do we have it, okay? Not only do we have it, but we have it by here. Insane, dude. Insane. We have the emergence and the timeline of it. So we have each of the parts of the viral SARS-CoV-2 viral genome, and the pink and the blue are the different parts of the SARS-CoV-2 genome that we have seen over time and how it's evolved. So we have the SARS-CoV-2 genome evolving like bits and pieces in the coronavirus caves, like with the bats. Like we have it. They literally have done the sequencing. Like what is this? Highlights: fragments of the human SARS-CoV-2 share very recent common ancestors with bat viruses. Oh my gosh, guys. Wow. SARS-CoV-1-like and SARS-CoV-2-like viruses have circulated in Asia for millennia. Recent ancestors of human SARS-CoV likely circulated in Western China and northern Laos. These ancestors traveled unexpectedly fast to reach sites of human emergence. Oh my God. It's almost like we've worked on this for a really long time and we have a huge body of knowledge to know that this stuff exists. And this guy is just saying, have we ever found a virus like in the environment? No. Like how could you be this daft? How could you be like, I don't understand it. Oh my God, I hate these people. I hate these people so much, dude. I hate them. There is, and it's so frustrating because it's literally people that have spent their life like dedicated to this stuff. Look at them. Look at this research that's been done, looking and analyzing all the different parts of the genomes that we have and syncing them together, doing good data, doing good work that are being underpaid, that are being budget cutted right now, that are being attacked in the media, that are being attacked by the president of the United States, that are still doing A+ S tier science. And you have numbskulls like this that are being pushed in the media and pushed by absolute dolts like this podcast post, like to credit and platform them instead of actually highlighting the actual science that is happening, the actual real work that people are doing to better understand the world. And you have numbskulls like this that just comes in with these idiotic statements. And these are the people that are pushed up in our society and through our algorithms. It's unbelievable, dude. I just can't. These people, we have to fight back. We have got to fight back. There is no way that these people can win, and they have won, and it's embarrassing that they are winning. It's just, oh man, what an idiot.
So that's weird, right? Because that's how we do it.
Right.
And nobody has ever taken a particle that you could call a virus from the fluid of a sick person or animal and shown that it exists. So you could say, how do they do it? What's the basis for the claim that there is this particle? So here's how they do it. They originally, 1954, they took somebody who they said had measles, right?
Right.
It's snot and fever and a rash, took some snot out of them and didn't look for a virus, didn't purify anything, just took the snot, put it on a growing culture of monkey kidney cells.
Oh my gosh.
Then they put
it's always
into
the same
culture
thing.
Antibiotics, which are poisonous to kidney cells. They took away the food from the growing culture, right? And they added fetal bovine serum and a few other chemicals. And then they watched, and the culture died.
Guys, because viruses aren't living. They require a host in order to grow and to be cultured. So you have to have cells that they can go into and that they can replicate inside of it. You can't just have viral particles in water. They don't work. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, that's the whole point. Yes, you need some type of cell for it to work. Like the idea, like just do it yourself then. Like do your own experiment if you don't think that this is real, and show us how it should be done.
Died. And they said that's the proof there's a virus. That's the proof of the isolation of the virus. And then, interestingly, the guy who did it and got a Nobel Prize for this, guy named Enders, did the same thing, except he didn't put anything from anybody with measles, right? So he put the calf serum and the antibiotic.
Greg, did I tell you my old roommate's dad invented a vaccine? No, that's awesome, Cake. That's amazing. The one that we were talking about is the actual science of what's actually going on is the recency and geographical origins of the bat viruses ancestral to SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2. Picard. You guys will remember his name. Fans of the stream, you guys remember him. Picard 2022. Okay, Picard 2022. We talk about that all the time because that is the paper that showed that there is actually two genetically distinct lineages that outbroke at the wet market at the same time. And then right here you can see who's this? Warraby, Michael Warraby. Okay, he's the other, the Warraby is the other author of the other study that we talk about all the time, Warraby 2022, where that is the one where they did the genetic evidence in showing that the wet market was the center of the outbreak. So these are world experts, man, on these things that have been studying this for a long time and doing a really good job at it. So this isn't just like some random scientist that's just coming in. And this is published in Cell. This is published in Cell, which is one of the premier science publications in the world. CNS is the moniker. Cell, Nature, Science. If it's published in Cell, it is a very good publication, ladies and gentlemen. So, gosh.
It took away the nutrients from the cells. And he says the cells died in the same way. Now that's weird because did
he just say, yeah, if I kill off all of the cells that the viruses can use to replicate, then the virus dies? That's his whole thing? That's his whole idea of how that's the whole point that he was trying to make? That's his dunk?
It's proved that it had not only nothing to do with a virus, it had nothing to do with anything from the person with measles. Right? Because the thing died anyways.
What an idiot.
And that is called the viral culture. And that is the way that we isolate viruses to this day. That's how SARS-CoV-2, measles, chickenpox, smallpox.
Again, just an absolute dolt, dude. This guy is, no, that is not how, that's not how it's done. I mean, like, it's molecular Koch's postulates. Molecular Koch's postulates are the modern way of doing it. Once we understood molecular biology to the point that we could do this is how we actually we constitute a lot of stuff now. It's through molecular Koch's postulates, but we don't need to isolate in single culture every single viral particle, guys. I mean, that we can do it through molecular biology. So, I mean, again, this guy he's completely out of touch with modern biology by about 50 years. And he's just saying these old tropes and recycling and saying this nonsense that makes sense to someone that has no actual background in what he's talking about, no actual research experience, but to people that are skeptical or conspiracy curious, they eat this up because it's really easy to digest. It's easy to oh wow, that population genetics. Oh, should I learn how population genetics works? No, I can just say that it never existed. Oh, okay. Oh man, amazing. learn? Oh, why would I learn how these things work instead of like, do anything that makes sense in the world and better understand the knowledge that exists? Why instead I could just say it doesn't exist? Like, oh, genius.
HIV, herpes,
Mhm.
all of them have been Ebola, monkeypox have all been isolated in this way, which has been proven over and over again to be bogus, anti-scientific
Again,
medicine.
just nonsense, dude. He's an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. Why would I ask a random TikToker how anything works? Don't listen to me. That's the whole point, dude. I don't think you can go and read this by yourself. Go ahead. The recency and geographical origins of the bat virus is ancestral to SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2. Go ahead. Like let's see what you think. Let's see what you're thinking of. The origin and cross-species transmission of bat coronaviruses in China. How about you read that one? Where we do population genetics even more so, trying to look at the cross-species transmission and how a lot of these coronaviruses actually hop between species all the time. Wow, and maybe that helps with the viral recombination that we saw. Whoa. Or you could just like believe what this guy says, I don't know. I'm giving you study after study. I'm giving you reproducible data that you can like figure out on yourself and you can use to create and synthesize new knowledge, or you can just be a conspiracy brain lunatic that just will believe anything that they read on the internet, see on the internet. Whatever. I mean, if you think that this guy is making a coherent argument to any of his claims, then I feel very sorry for you.
How do I know there's no virus? The official way to say it is when you look at the technique they use to prove there is such a thing, it's wrong.
Right? Oh,
so there
that's
is
it.
no evidence,
it's just wrong.
Zero, that anybody has ever found this particle. It's never been isolated from a sick person.
It has.
Therefore, we don't.
It literally has been. Like he said before that it was isolated, but it was put into bad serum before. And now he's saying that it's not even isolated. So which one? Which one is it? He's not even internally consistent with his own ideas here. Think about it. Like if it wasn't like isolated, then why would it matter what kind of cells it was put in? So like he's not even consistent with himself. Exactly, Sydney. Yeah, viruses have been like isolated hundreds of times, literally.
Don't know whether it has a genome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know whether invisible flying unicorns have wings,
right?
Because they don't exist.
Yeah.
And until you can show me the invisible flying unicorn and prove it exists, I don't believe that that it has hoofs or wings or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't even exist.
Right.
You can't say that something is a piece of something until you show that something exists and the piece. So any PCR
Where's
test,
the genomes coming from?
Antibodies.
Where are the genetics coming from, guys? Where are these genomes coming from? Where are these genomes coming from, guys? Where are they all coming from? That all link together, that all align together. We know where are all these genomes coming from, guys? Where are they? This is what I'm saying. It relies on a complete lack of knowledge to make any of these claims. Like you don't think that where are the genomes of these viruses coming from? It's insane. From the genetic material of everything found in the cell cultures. No, Rebel. No, bro. This is out there. We can sequence things without culturing them. Like you don't even understand how genetics works, bro. Like we can just take a swab of something and we can sequence the genome of the viruses without isolating it through like culture. Like we can just do that. So you don't understand how this is working.
Etc. is totally bogus.
Yeah. I mean, we isolate viruses to make like adeno-associated viruses for genetic medicines that we create. So like I would say yes, if waterproof sky, yes, we have done it literally. Like scientists do it constantly all throughout the world, constantly, in order to better understand how these things happen. Thank you for the bat headwear. Thank you, Ruben. That was a good. Thank you.
And to finish with your question about the immune system, see, the way that science works is they make a claim, the claim gets falsified, and then they come to a fork.
Not a single study has taken a swab and sequenced and claimed that a virus without culture. Oh my gosh, dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Rebel? Why do you say things? Why do you say things so confidently when you have no idea what you're talking about? Warby 2022. Not a single study. Here is one. Here is the one that was the biggest one. Warby 2022. Like how? I mean, bro. Come on. Like, what are you talking about? We've literally done it stall by stall for the wet market. Like, what are you talking about? It hasn't been done. It literally, we have that evidence right here. The Huanan seafood wholesale market in Huanan was the early epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. Michael Warby, wow, the same guy that we were just talking about. All these, like, you don't have to like prove to me that all this is wrong, bro. Like, what are you talking about? They took stall by stall evidence, and they mapped it out by the stall to show where raccoon dog DNA and SARS-CoV-2 genomes overlapped. Like, bro, we know it. like, what are you talking about, bro?
In the road.
Yeah.
They can either say the whole thing is bullshit, so let's forget about it. Or they can make up another story to keep the thing going.
Right.
So originally they said, if you have a virus like a cold or the flu or chickenpox, everybody you're exposed to gets sick. That if you get around somebody with chickenpox, most people don't get sick. Or a cold, most people don't get sick. Or the flu, right? Most people don't get sick. So you got to so you can either say that whole virus thing is nonsense, or you can say, no, they have a good immune system. It's because you make antibodies, right? And if you have antibodies, then they protect you against that virus. So here's the story with antibodies. So in other words,
oh my God, this is him. This is okay. Because you remember, guys, he thinks that viruses were created because the immune system was never correct and never existed. So this is, they created viruses as a justification somehow to push that the immune system was fake. So here we go. Here it is.
You make these chemicals called antibodies. You get measles. You make measles antibodies. You never get measles again. You get the cold. You make the cold antibodies against the cold virus. And then you don't get a cold ever again, except
there's evolution, bro. Like viruses evolve.
Sometimes you do get a cold, so the antibodies don't work so well.
Oh my God. Like, if there was, the terrain theory was real, this nonsense about all natural foods and, I don't eat chemicals, bruh. I just eat natural food, and like without microplastics and modern technology of 5G routing my brain, I could live forever. Like, why didn't humans used to live for 1,000 years? Why did they stop at 900 in the Bible? Like, why not 10,000 years? Like what? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? What are these people even talking about?
Right. And then you get chickenpox, and you make antibodies, and you never get chickenpox again. Except sometimes you get shingles, so that's like chickenpox, but that's because the antibodies wore off. And then you get HIV.
Shingles is completely different. It infects your nerve. Like, what is he talking about?
And then you make antibodies, right? So that means you're immune to HIV, and you'll never get sick from HIV. But then they tell you if you get HIV and you make antibodies, that means the virus is going to kill you. And I remember hearing that in medical school and thinking, wait a minute. You just told me 10 minutes ago that if I make antibodies, I'm immune for life. And now you're telling me that if I make antibodies, that means the virus is going to kill me. Without any explanation as to, like, how does the virus know that you made antibodies? Or how does your body, what is it, made the wrong antibodies? Nobody knew. So they just said, we don't know. So now if you, the virus is smart.
Right.
They've evolved. The virus evolves to outmaneuver your immune system. Also, guys, holy shit. If HIV is such a joke, okay? The reason why people don't get AIDS anymore, okay, is because of what? What technology, what type of medicine has made people live longer with HIV? You got it, chat. Let's see it. PrEP, true. But what is, I mean, yes, but they're antivirals. Antiviral medication has allowed people to live longer with HIV because, exactly, Cake. There we go. Exactly. So if viruses don't exist and HIV is such a joke, why is antiviral medications the best way in order to sustain people with a viral infection, with HIV? Dude, Rebel, you don't even know what a meta study is, and you don't even know what direct sequencing is. Like, you don't even know. What are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. What are you, bro? What, like, what are you talking about, bro? They literally have positive samples here in the figure. Bro, you're just embarrassing yourself. And Picard 2022 does the exact like lineage of the outbreak. Like why do you think that you could become an expert in something that you have zero knowledge in? And now you suddenly can understand phylogenetics in under 5 minutes, and you can skim a paper that is like a seminal paper. I mean, it's just embarrassing for you, bro. It's embarrassing for you. Like, Picard 2022 was the strict phylogenetic evidence paper. And it literally goes through the exact proportion, the taxons, the lineages of each of the different strains over time. Like, what? Like, bro, like, stop embarrassing yourself. God, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about this.
That you make.
They don't use cell culture, Rebel. They don't use cell culture in these papers. They don't need to. You can sequence things from a sample. You can sample a virus from in a space, and you can just do sequencing on that sample. You don't have to culture it and make more viruses in order to sequence it. Like, I don't understand. You are not challenging. That was my challenge and your objection. No, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about. Bro, what are you? It's right here. The problem is you're asking for genetic evidence, and you literally don't even know genetics enough to know when I literally have genetics, a phylogenetic map on the screen, and you literally are typing on your phone is the evidence that you're talking about, and it's taking up half of your screen, and you have know so little about phylogenetics that you can't even tell that a phylogenetic map is on your phone. Like, but you're going to tell me that the evidence doesn't exist? Like, bro, like, what? Who are you guys?
Antibodies, and it has this part of it that knows how to evade the antibodies.
Right.
That's that visible unicorn.
Bro, they literally
Like,
talk
I know
about it
that-
in the materials and the methods. Why do you think a figure is going to have methodology data, bro? Like, what are you, like, you guys have never read a study. You don't have any idea what you're talking about. Like, it's just wild to me.
They're visible unicorns that blow up buildings, because I put a unicorn repellent around my house, and my house has never been blown up. So that's
Genius.
proof that
Wow, what a
because
genius.
those unicorns have not learned to evade the unicorn repellent. Whereas the people in the Ukraine,
Bro, holy shit. How could you, Picard 2022? So you're going to, wait, so you don't even know Picard 2022, and you think that you know enough in order to debunk Picard 2022 in 5 minutes, just like how you went through Warraby 2022, and you know enough about that in order to debunk it with a quick glance at the paper. He's not a scientist, Ruben. No scientist would say something like that. That doesn't make any sense.
they use unicorn repellent, but those unicorns, they figured out how to evade the unicorn repellent.
Bro, are you serious? Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. It's so embarrassing, dude. It's so embarrassing.
And so they blew up the houses.
Yep.
That's the kind of level of thinking we're talking about in mainstream medicine. And by the way, 99% of alternative medicine who believe exactly the same thing.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation, and it was fairly detailed, so that really helps. Now,
What
there's a few questions that have come
explanation?
up on my end at
Explanation of what?
least, but I'm curious to understand. So you've talked about in
19... He hasn't made a single positive claim. He just thinks that none of it exists, and he thinks that it's a joke, and he thinks that it's all wrong. But he hasn't actually proven anything or cited a study or shown an experiment or done anything to make any positive claim in the world. Like okay, so then how are the diseases spreading? Why do the genomes align?
54, the whole idea of how they explained they're taking the virus.
Okay, these are pee drinkers for sure. These guys drink pee all the time.
And definitely in terms of how
it is Dunning-Kruger. It is, Dean. It is like it. The only explanation is like that these people, they know so little that they think that they are so confident about it, and that's the problem. At the end of the day, trust your own gut instinct and don't put your trust in shills like me. Adam, like, again, your gut is like, that just shows how little you understand about science in the world. That you think that instinct is how, like, the best knowledge it happens. Like, that isn't how you understand the mechanisms of the world, bro. Like, it's just, it's hilarious that you think that. It's hilarious.
Treating it. So the way you've explained it, it's pretty obvious that their rationale and what they've demonstrated is not accurate.
Based off of what? Based off of what? He literally said, Cowan literally said, I used facts and logic in order to make it. And this guy on the left, this podcaster, Easy Conversations from YouTube, this guy is just lapped it up, and it was just like, that sounds, I mean, you sound very confident when you say it, so that must be true. That makes sense to me. Whoa, my God.
So why has it not been challenged for all these years, like 7 years, for example? And why are we still believing these explanations?
It has been there. These people have been there the entire time. The problem is that social media has created a rise in anti-intellectuals where people like this idiot on the right can actually make money and more money doing this grift than he can being a medical doctor. That's the reason. So now he is full blown into this alternative fake medicine area versus actually trying to help people and improve their quality of life, which is a much harder thing to do. It's much harder to actually like build knowledge where people can criticize you and the peer review process and actually publishing things through publications. Much harder to do that. But this guy is an absolute failure in that endeavor. So he sits back in this peanut gallery, misogynist, lunatic fringe, and he's protected. He's protected by this alternative. I'm just telling you how it is, man. I'm just telling you like what it is. It's the problem is that these apps and these algorithms push this stuff to people and people lap it up.
In a way, it's an irrelevant question. It's also a good question. So, for instance, we wrote something called a viral challenge.
Adam, why don't you debate Andrew? Bro, I would debate any of your quacks, Adam. Any Andrew Kaufman, Tom Cowan, any of them. I would debate any of them, and they will never actually sign up for it, and they will never agree to it. I guarantee you. They are afraid of me. That's what it is.
And a bunch of my colleagues, and we said, okay, if you think that putting snot from somebody who you think is sick with a certain illness and seeing that the tissue breaks down proves there's a virus, let's do a series of studies where you take snot from people who are sick, people who aren't sick, no snot, and put it on the culture and see what happens. And we did that. Mm-hmm. And we put exactly the same thing happened, whether there was snot or no snot. And then we said, okay, let's do this with a virus. See, we did it on our own. We paid for it and everything. And then we said to Kennedy and all the health freedom people and all the virologists, let's do this study and show the world. Okay. What do they say? No. Mm-hmm. We said, well, show us where these studies have been done, because this is the way you would prove whether it's valid or not. If you think it's the snot, then do it without the snot and see if the same thing happens. They refuse to do it. Care? Mm-hmm.
Did you get that? Did you guys see that? He's so much of a quack that even RFK is like, bro, you gotta chill. You've gotta chill. There's no way. This is so embarrassing. Like he's so embarrassing. Even RFK is literally trouncing this guy, being like, this guy is too far gone. That's what's going on. RFK is pushing this guy down and saying this guy's no way, man. It's so hilarious to me.
They've got too much.
Rebel, you just read the Picard study. Again, so in 5 minutes, you went from no understanding of molecular biology or population genetics to fully understanding phylogenetics. Give me 2 sentences on your in your own words, what the conclusions are. Go. We'll wait, Rebel. Otherwise, you're gonna get banned. Go ahead. Give me 2 major conclusions that the Picard paper said. You have 2 minutes to give 2 sentences in your own words of what happened, or you're going to get banned. TikTok, let's go. Let's see it. You should be finishing the first sentence right around now. You're not going off in a good case. Okay, I wasn't reading it for the conclusions. I was just looking at the methodology. Okay, dude, you're banned. Like, don't sit there and say that you've read something and lie to me in chat and say that you are reading something when you haven't. Don't come in here and ask and spam chat and then I spend time during my stream to walk you through and help you to try to understand something, and then lie to me and say that you have read something when you obviously haven't. When you obviously haven't. That's concern trolling, and it's like, what do you think that you're doing, bro? Like, what do you think you're doing? Like, go into your conspiracy algorithm. You're lost, bro. You're lost.
Invested in that this is the way it works, and there's money and there's power, and they're delusional anyways, and so they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean by they are scientifically illiterate. They cannot figure out. See, so what's the difference with me? I went into this thinking, I don't care whether there's a virus or not.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, we don't care about viruses. We care about the fact that they kill people. That's what we care about. Okay? If there was some other mechanism of understanding why people get sick that is more correct, we would attack that thing. It's not the idea of us needing viruses to exist or not. It's the fact that they actually cause people harm, and we need to understand that. There is a huge onus on trying to improve people's quality of life. And that's what we were trying to understand.
There's this particle, and you can find it from people who are sick, and you squirt it on people who aren't sick, and it makes them sick. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What difference does it make? Then you have to figure out how to kill the virus or inactivate it or protect. And if there isn't, you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't exist. So you do the studies, and it doesn't exist. I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't like.
But even RFK wouldn't do this study, guys. Even RFK wouldn't do this study. So again, like he couldn't even. He's complaining. He's being persecuted even within his own quackery. That even quacks are peer reviewing him and being like, "We're not going to do that."
Any financial stake. I don't have any intellectual stake. I don't have any emotional stake in this. Like, you're telling me my worldview is wrong, and I cannot deal with that. I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And just
yes,
to follow
you do.
up on that,
guys. Oh my gosh. You don't think that? Okay, so he doesn't have just to be sure. He doesn't have any preconditions, and he doesn't care whether or not this matters, guys. He's just an independent. He's just an independent truth sayer, guys. Right? He's just an independent truth sayer trying to say how it is, and he's just calling balls or strikes. What's this? What's this? What's this, guys? What are these? Powders, pantry, pasture, all these vitamins, these minerals that you can buy from him. He's just calling balls and strikes, guys. It doesn't matter to him if this is real or not. This is a guy that is fully indentured into this ideology because he has to sell this nonsense. He has to sell $50 organic 3-fold blend powders. Like, he is creating therapeutic nonsense that people are buying. He is trying to tell people how the world works so that people will go out and buy his things. So the idea of him just being like, oh, it doesn't matter to me, man. It doesn't matter to me. It matters a lot to him.
Because you talked about the emotional state, and I'm curious to understand, because you said there's no logical explanation for, say, you and I are sitting in a room together and you have a cold. And if I catch this cold, you said there's really no contagion there. So what's the explanation of sometimes people catching colds and others not catching cold?
Nobody has ever caught a cold. What they have sometimes is they express the same symptoms at the same time in the same place. Now, in order to understand your question, you have to understand the nature of why living beings, particularly animals and people, express symptoms. So here is the biggest psyop of all in medicine.
Oh my gosh.
People pay attention to this one.
Oh my
this
God.
is the big kahuna.
Okay.
That which we call diseases, or which are described by a set of symptoms, right? Snot, cough, fever, don't feel good.
Why is he all about
tumor,
snot?
Can't remember your wife's name, so you got dementia.
Yeah.
All those things, those symptoms are your body's attempt to heal. They're not diseases. And that's what we got wrong. So how did I come to that?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Let's say you get a splinter in your finger, right?
Yep.
You don't take it out because you don't feel like it. What happens next?
It starts getting irritated, gets worse.
And you make pus, right?
Yeah.
And so is the pus, which I learned in medical school is an infection, right? Is that the therapy or the disease?
Based on your explanation, that would be the therapy.
Not my explanation. You got a splinter in your finger, your body makes pus. Is the pus a disease, or is it the therapy for the splinter?
It's a therapy for the splinter.
100% sure?
That's my guess.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not a disease. It's your body's way of getting the splinter out because you didn't take it out. Right?
Yeah, correct.
Once it gets the splinter out, the whole thing resolves. Okay, next one. You got.
There is no mechanism that the splinter is increasing the rate of the splinter itself. A viral particle lands in your body. And the problem is that the viral particle gets to an inflection point where it is triggering an immune response that's more than your body can handle. That's the whole point. It literally creates more viruses so that your viruses, the viral particulate, the viral load, the amount of virus in your system grows. You're not getting splinter after splinter after splinter. Okay? Like does one splinter lead to a twig, leads into a branch, leads into a tree trunk in your leg? No. All of his analogies are the premonition is this idea of these things don't exist, therefore they can't replicate, therefore it's like, yuck, well, it's kind of like contagions spread because they replicate in order to do that. A splinter is a bad analogy for a disease. Like, how it's just so simple.
You go to a place and they're spraying chemtrails and crap in the air and glyphosate in the air, and it gets in your lungs, and your body makes mucus and liquefies tissue and a fever, and then you get a cough. Is the mucus and the cough and the fever, is that the therapy, or is that the therapy for the debris you got in your lungs, or is that a disease called bronchitis? It's in cough medicines to make sure you stop getting.
What are these cuts? That was a huge cut just now. What is that? But again, wait a second. Why is this happening? Why is there he doesn't believe in the immune system. He doesn't think that the immune system is real. So I don't get it. So what is happening? Why is this starting to happen in the beginning? Like, what if it's not a viral particle, if it's not a disease, like input output, chemtrails now. Exactly. It's always going to be chemtrails, 5G, like microplastics. That's what everything is going to come down to, for sure.
That stuff out of your lungs. And now you've got a problem because your body tried to get it out and now it couldn't because somebody stopped you. Now you got a lung full of debris. Right?
Yes.
Now here's another one. Let's say you have a house. A lot of people have houses, right? And somebody comes and puts a bunch of stinky garbage in the foyer of your house. What would you do with that garbage?
Remove it.
How?
Throw it out. Take it out.
What's the first thing you would do?
Well, pick up if it's garbage, collect it, put it in a bag, and
put it in a bag, right?
Yeah.
Take it out to the garage, and then the garbage comes, and you take it out to the curb, right?
Yeah.
Very obvious.
I mean, it's a microplastics are just, there's always going to be boogeymen that they point to that push on this naturalistic fallacy of people are healthier when they're natural, and it's just not true.
Yeah.
First step, put it in a bag or a can. So somebody puts a whole bunch of stinky garbage in your body, like glyphosate and chemtrails and all kinds of stuff, right? There's thousands of different poisons. So what's your body going to do? First step.
Oh, God.
Put it in a bag.
Put it in a receptacle,
Yeah.
right? That's called a tumor, otherwise known as cancer. Is the cancer a disease, or is it the same as was that a disease when you put that garbage in the garbage bag?
No, it was a response.
It's the remedy for stinky garbage, right?
Yes.
So then you take it to the garage, and then you take it out to the curb, and then the next day they put more garbage until your garage is full, and then you put it in the spare bedroom, and then they say the garbage metastasized from and crawled from your garage to your spare bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
How did it get there? It crawled through the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
So how did the tumor get from your breast to your lungs or your liver? It goes through the bloodstream, right? That's what they say. Can you show it to me, the tumor cells in the bloodstream? No.
What?
Why not? Because we can't, like that's a stupid question.
Yeah.
All right. How do you know it got through the bloodstream? How else did it get to the liver? Same as your garbage. How did it get from the garage to the spare bedroom?
He doesn't believe in,
and then it goes,
he doesn't believe in the lymphatic system, I guess. So it's again, this is just like, oh my God. It's just wild, dude. It's just wild. It's so crazy, man.
To the spare bedroom, and then there's more garbage, and then you put it in the kitchen, and then the bedroom, and then the living room, and then you can't live in your house anymore, so you move. And that's the same thing we do with cancer. You have it in one place, it goes to another because you get more garbage. Mm-hmm. And what's the treatment for cancer in conventional oncology? They put more garbage.
Right.
And then people die. Mm-hmm. That's why how one thinks of this, is everything.
Mm-hmm. What?
Now, getting back to your question.
Everything.
So we already know that if you're in...
What? Guys, I don't study mammals. I don't study humans. From what I understand, is that 80% of cancers are external, from external reasons. But it creates something inside your body where the DNA mutates to the point where there is the cancer forms from that. So, like, how would it spread if it's not changing the DNA? Oh, he doesn't believe DNA is real. He doesn't believe the DNA is real. So the immune system, he doesn't believe in the immune system. He doesn't believe in the lymphatic system. He thinks that DNA is fake. So again, like, he doesn't believe in lipid bilayers and cell membranes. So again, like all these guys' analogies, he's trying to he's thought of these analogies literally for 50 years. And like, this is the best that he has. This is the best answer for what's happening in the world right now is what this guy has. This is it.
The same room with somebody and you express symptoms like you cough, that's a good thing, right? Because you had something in there that you needed to cough out. So maybe there's a phenomena between people that they're able to communicate, like women do with menses and yawning and laughing and being happy. People can communicate words energetically that says, now it's time. There's a bunch of, turns out, rashes, which they called measles and chickenpox, were because of arsenic in the wallpaper, that they wallpapered with arsenic based in the glue. And it would.
Why did measles go down after antibiotics and vaccines? If that's the case, guys, we were losing 100 million people to measles in the 1900s. And he thinks that a mass wallpapering scheme, like we just used new paint and then that caused 100 million people to be saved their life. Like what?
Outgas, the children would breathe it in, then they would express it through their skin. And that expression through the skin is the therapy for breathing in arsenic. And that's why it seems like it's contagious. Now, here's the thing.
they could get measles outside, dude. You can transmit measles when you're in a room that doesn't have arsenic wallpaper in it. And what, dude?
Is that the explanation always correct? Probably not. It's complicated. And so you don't want to get into a debate about which is true. You go back to
what
you're adopted.
I'm totally down to have that conversation. I definitely want to have that conversation on what's true and to understand mechanistically what happened here. I'm totally down to have that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not a virus.
Oh.
And if you do a study to put with chickenpox or the cold or flu, you don't see contagion. That is not the explanation. So you have to look for something else. And the best guess is we've got totally incorrect what disease is in the first place. And so the entirety of conventional medicine, and like I say, 99% of alternative medicine is your knee hurts, it's inflamed, you give something to stop the inflammation. It's not you have deposits building up in your knee because you ate calcium supplements or ate crappy food. So your body makes inflammation using warmth to dissolve the deposit, and it does hurt, but that's towards resolving the problem. And that's how your body heals. And it doesn't matter whether you give them ibuprofen or turmeric. It's still, the thinking is still inflammation bad, get rid of it. And you never heal anybody that way.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. And
thank you for that. Like, what were you supposed to take from that? What were you supposed to take from that like nonsense ramble of like an answer? Like, what was the big guiding philosophy there that like how disease is created and spread to people? What
I'm hearing from you then is the body is resilient.
Exactly. How does he say to heal inflammation? Yeah.
And it has a natural mechanism for healing, but unfortunately,
yeah, Paniac. That's the thing, is like these guys will have bits and pieces of like sentences that like make sense, but then the overarching message makes no sense, right? It like has no sense of like it, but that's how they do it. There'll be like some little part that is, then people will Google that, right, and be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's right here, yeah, and then but then the overarching message will be so laughable that they basically hope that people will trust them and be like, well, you think I'm wrong here, how am I going to be wrong everywhere? So, it's pretty obvious that they have no understanding of how disease happens. Like he thinks that measles is just a skin rash and thinks that it's from wallpaper, guys. I mean, think about that, how stupid that is. Like, there are people all throughout the world that were dying from measles, okay? It's like, it wasn't just like people with wallpaper were dying from measles. People all around the world that were living in all different types of conditions were dying from measles. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is literally, like, how could anyone be that dumb? And this is the facts and logics guy. He just came to these conclusions. It's so self-evident, but this is that guy.
We tend to try to find a quick response.
Ruben, they had lead in the gasoline, so they had lead in the atmosphere, so people were breathing in lead, which was awful, which is very awful. Yeah, F1.
Or just respond in general to whatever's going on and interrupt the natural mechanism that's taking place. And in our Western medicine world, we tend to put all these substances into our body, to your point, which may be blocking that mechanism and causing more issues. Is that
100%. That's all.
Then why did we die as humans with an average lifespan of 35 before modern medicine? Like, it's so simple. Like if natural, yeah, bro, I just, I don't want to eat chemicals, dude. I just want to, eat natural foods, dude. Like, why did we die at so high rates? Like, why did there so many people, and specifically what led people to die specifically was childhood death rates was very, very high because of young people being exceptionally susceptible to viruses and the diseases that are spread from them. So again, like, children are going to be the ones that are the least exposed to these chemicals, the things that he's talking about. So again, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, none of this makes any sense.
They know how to do.
right?
It's a thought disorder.
You're right.
They think if you're coughing, cough bad, get rid of cough.
Right.
That's the intellectual foundation of this system of medicine,
Right.
which is absolutely superstitious, childlike, anti-scientific nonsense.
No.
It's all because there's a lot of reasons for it, historically, etc. But they have this, it comes out of the philosophy of materialism, basically. Now, that means that
What is he doing with his hand?
philosophy of materialism, basically. Now, that
Is he wrapping his left hand with a plastic bag while he does this? What is this? What is this exactly? Waterproof? Like, materialism? Like, I don't understand. Like, where is he possibly going with this?
means that they have this theory that the only thing that exists is material substance.
Right.
And so why do you think that your thoughts don't seem to be like, that's because you have these brain cells and they somehow chemically secrete thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they think.
Yeah.
But here, and so the strategy of modern science is, okay, brain seems to have something to do with thinking. So we're going to dissect the brain until smaller and smaller and try to find out where the thinking comes from.
I see
So
a
it's the
Noctis.
cells, and we don't find any thinking in this. So the molecules, the DNA, the chromosomes, the cell membranes, it's not anywhere. It must be in a single molecule somewhere, or in the atom, in the cell, somewhere, and we never find it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as you take a radio.
Guys. Like, what is he trying to say? Like, what was he trying to find? What was the point of this?
We don't find anything.
We
And
don't
try
find
to find
anything.
out where the thinking comes from.
Where does the thinking come from, guys? Like, God, this is so, like, take anything, okay? Any type of mind altering thing, all right? And you can tell very easily, right, that your brain and the neurotransmitter ratios inside of your brain can be altered, and your version of reality can be drastically changed and altered very quickly. So the idea that somehow, like, reality and your perception of reality would be anything other than a complex neurotransmitter ratios inside of your brain is so farcical. Like, why? Like, what would be changing inside of there except for those chemicals? Like, it's like, just take some, alter your mind and tell me. Yeah, you very quickly see how quickly that perception can change. The idea,
So it's the cells.
the idea that it's like something that is outside of matter. Like what is happening in that mind altering state? You're connecting with something outside of that. It's just nonsense, dude. It's nonsense.
We don't find any thinking in this. So the molecules, the DNA, the chromosomes.
The consciousness comes from our brain. Like it's obvious. Consciousness comes from our brain in the neurotransmitter ratios inside of it. That's just it. Yeah, exactly. Doors in the walls. Exactly, Melanie.
Cell membrane.
No, there is no spirit and there is no soul, Ruben. No.
It's not anywhere. It must be in a single molecule somewhere, or in the atom, in the cell, somewhere, and we never find it. Mm-hmm. It's the same as you take a radio, right? And you say, I got this thing and it makes sound, right? It even plays music, and I like the music.
Right.
So I'm gonna dissect the radio and find out where the sound comes from. Mm-hmm. So I start taking the radio apart, and it's in the wire or the knobs or the tubes or the whatever, and I never find the sound. And so because I'm committed,
we don't know where the sound comes from in the radio, that the speaker and how the speaker oscillates creates a wavelength that hits your hammer and your cochlea, like inside of like how the mammals like perceive sound. You don't think we understand how sound works? Like this guy's analogies are so sophomoric, man. It blows my mind that anyone would be like actually like persuaded by this stuff.
It must be in the radio. I keep looking until I get to one atom after another.
Dude, the guy is literally doing the thing like from Zoolander, where he was like, "It's the files are inside the computer. Oh, inside computer, inside. Oh, it's inside the keyboard. The data is inside the keyboard. Where? Oh, can't see it. Oh. Like, bro, come on, man. Come on. Are we seriously at that level? Are we at that level? Like, give me a break, dude. I can't believe I've never seen someone actually do the Zoolander joke in real life.
By the way, there's no such thing as an atom. They made that up too. And a nucleus, an electron. It's all just models. Mm. And the reality is, the sound comes from somewhere else.
Right.
And you're never going to find it in the radio or the screws or the glue or the drywall or the wood or somewhere. But we know it's got to be in there. And we never think maybe it's in the mind of the architect, transmitter. And so everything is wrong because there is no sound coming from the radio. I was driving with this 3.5-year-old guy in my car. He was like son of a friend of mine. And all of a sudden, an interview that I had done comes on the radio. And he looks at me and he says, "Tom, how'd you get in that radio?"
Yeah.
That's the level of sophistication.
Just like this guy's like cope laugh of not understanding how any of this makes any sense, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
So you're putting your life's hands in.
Yeah. So that's where I understand your
dude. These jump edits. It is so funny that they're sitting there trying to like piece together like this entire conversation and for an hour long,
talking about them wanting to then, even from the perspective of a virus, look at it as this material thing that we can explain rather than an abstract concept that we can't necessarily explain. So I'm just curious to understand from your view. So when someone has the symptoms, for example, is that how much of our thought and our mindset plays a role in that?
It's interesting because I deliberately misspoke.
Yeah, guys. And if you're sick, just think yourself better. Just think yourself better, right? Dude, like, you're not right, and that is never. He is not right either. So the fact that you're like jonesing out with this guy is pretty hilarious, but I understand why you are. No, it doesn't, Ruben. Like, placebo doesn't work when you are dying from a disease. Like, there is. Like, if you are healthy and you are okay individual, like, placebo will. But what we're talking about is like a virus taking over your body. And if you just like don't do anything, the viral load for that virus will get high enough that you die. So, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Ruben. This guy doesn't believe in the immune system. So, again,
about 20 minutes ago, I said there have been no studies scientifically valid that have shown that one person can transmit symptoms to another person. And there's a book, if anybody's interested in this subject, called Can You Catch a Cold by Daniel Roides. And he goes over 200 studies disproving that hypothesis. But there have been one or two where they did things like they put people in a room and they took some stuff.
Guys, did we loop? Did we loop? He's going over the exact same thing that he just said 30 minutes ago. Like he's having a brain loop.
And they said, this stuff is from the snot of somebody with.
He's doing the snot thing. He's doing the snot thing again.
And it's going to make you sick.
He's doing the snot thing.
Interestingly, then they would say, they would go the next, so the person would have a fever and sweating and the whole bit. And then the next day they would go to him and say, oh, by the way, it turns out you got the placebo and it was just, like a bunch of saline.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't from anybody. Within 24 hours, they cleared up. So,
bro, you can literally, oh my God, guys. Oh my God. Yeah. He thinks all disease guys could somehow just be, you just think it away.
Essentially physical manifestations of electromagnetic fields being.
Oh my God, what an idiot.
But essentially our consciousness or our thinking and our emotions and the way you see the world essentially becomes your physical body, which is why it's...
Why? So why is he old? Why is he a frail old man? Why is he overweight? Like if you can just wish your way out of disease, then surely you can wish your way into muscle growth and you being younger and higher intelligence. And like what is the stipulation for him? Like, why is he like, just do that? I don't understand.
So interesting. Almost everybody I talk to who has really come to understand there are no viruses, bacteria don't make you sick, there is no contagion.
Idiot.
Parasites don't even exist,
Idiots.
basically, except worms. They are a kind of parasite. They exist, but they actually there to help you, not hurt you. But the protozoa, they're artifacts. Once you see that, and I don't mean believe it, I mean see it.
See it. Once you see it.
Those people seem not to get sick anymore.
Well, the Herman Cain Award. How many people are like wind up going to the hospital and being like, is it too late for the COVID jab? Like, is it too late? It's like, I messed up, guys. Like, we literally have a subreddit dedicated to people denying this, thinking that the virus was fake, that there was no problems with it, and they just lost their life. And it's such a record number that we were keeping track of it and collectively laughing at these people. But suddenly they just don't get sick. Or it's a self-selecting mechanism where people in this clique, if they do get sick, what do you think, guys? What do you think is going to be the mechanism that happens? Are they going to say, wow, we're going to reassess our previous hypothesis and we're going to figure out why we were wrong, and then we're going to bring this new data in order to better understand the reality? Or do you think that they are going to have, with this new data, say, oh, no, this person got sick because of blank. This person got sick because of chemtrails, plastic, microplastics, 5G. Oh, because they didn't believe. That's why they got sick. What do you think? Greg, do you not believe positive thinking does create strength? Ruben, I will put 500 pounds on the bench press right now, and I will give you $1 million if you can do it. I come over right now, and I will pay for your I will pay for your plane ticket, bro. Let's see it. Let's see it. Oh, you don't think that positive training? No, Ruben. Why don't you? You'll get there with training. No. You said firmly. Do I not think that positive thinking can create strength? So obviously, if you're training, you don't believe in yourself, Ruben. That's what you're saying. You're saying that you don't believe that positive strength does give you strength. Positive thinking does give you strength, because you're saying, no, there has to be a mechanistic, naturalistic reason for me to be able to lift 500 pounds. And I'm saying, no. You should be able to deadlift 2,000 pounds right now if you just think that. If you just think that right now, that should make you lift that weight. No, Ruben, no. When it comes to the immune system, he doesn't think the immune system is real. Again, so he thinks that just positive thinking can completely dictate your entire body. Let's see it.
Mm-hmm. Whereas I don't know how many people you hear, oh, I've had my 6th COVID shot and I've only had COVID 8 times.
Yeah.
Right? You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the virus mutated. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, everybody. If you want to get sick a lot in like COVID and monkeypox and Ebola and all that stuff, the best strategy is to believe that they will make you sick. Mm-hmm. If that's your goal, which is not my goal, but if it is your goal,
right?
There's a very clear direction to take. Mm-hmm. Just deeply believe in it and run your life as if it's true to kill the virus. Even though
what was that cut?
You can read a paper called HIV, a virus like none other. The Perth group proves there's no such thing as HIV. Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. What an idiot. It's just unfathomable stupidity.
Can go into that, but it's a little long-winded.
He cut something out there. He cut something out.
So anyways, he believes in viruses, right? Mm-hmm. So he spends his career. And so naturally, when COVID hits, he believes in viruses. So he goes out and gets COVID shots. After the second booster, next day, 50-some-year-old guy, otherwise good health, dead in his bed. He had a stroke and killed him. People ask me, so why did he die? The COVID shot, right? Caused blood clots.
Definitely not.
No. Yes, no. But he died because he believes in viruses.
So again, so you just believe it, and you just that creates the reality, guys. That's just, you just believe in it, and you don't need to worry.
If you believe in viruses, beliefs lead to actions. Mm-hmm. A reasonable action, if you believe in that story, is to protect yourself against the killer virus. Mm-hmm. So that's by a shot.
Right.
And that actions have consequences. Shots have stuff in it, cause you to get blood clots.
If you don't believe in viruses, go hang out in the Democratic Republic of Congo right now, and go hang out and move the people that have lost their lives around and bury them. Go ahead. Let's see it. I hate how these people hide this. If they had any temerity and they had any logical thought around anything that they said, they would be sitting there going to these places. Exactly. Volunteer in Congo, Matt. Exactly. Go ahead. Do you not, Cowan, do you not think that you're going to be okay? What's wrong? What's wrong, dude? He doesn't think that the Ebola is real. Why don't you just go over there? Why doesn't he? Guys, I wonder why. I wonder why they never actually apply any of their knowledge to a spot where they actually makes them more susceptible to losing their life. Yeah, just wash your hands. Take a multivitamin. Let's hear it. Does he not believe that he's in good health? What's wrong? What's wrong, guys?
Then you die.
Mm-hmm. He's a coward. That's why.
Belief system. Mm-hmm. Most people, that's the real cause of death.
Right.
They believe all manner of nonsense.
Yeah. And that's something I've talked about on this podcast, because during COVID, I was very curious, because a lot of people that I knew. And again, there's
Yeah.
I wish there's a study that comes out, but
No,
people that
no, Ruben. No, bro. You couldn't do it. No, that's the whole fucking point, Ruben. What are you talking about, dude? No. Jesus Christ, bro. No. No. Okay, again, light isn't out there. Light is life isn't over there in Ebola town. She's not doing anything to risk her life.
actually believed it and were fearful of COVID, in
Go
my
ahead.
social circle, I was observing that they were the ones getting the
Ruben.
symptoms.
Ruben has been here for a long time, dude. Ruben is legitimately he's like legitimately asking questions, and he's like he's at least here to learn, and he has grown a lot since like in the stream in the last year, and but he's not just trolling. He's like legitimately trying to learn.
Whereas some of us that it didn't make a difference to our life one way or the other. We were fine.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
No, you're
that
not,
emotional state. So I'm also curious to understand from your perspective, is cancer also a manifestation of one's emotional state, or is it more than that? What are your thoughts with like how does someone show, because we all have cancerous cells in our body, but how does one actually show the symptoms over someone else who doesn't?
Cancer is your body's way of bagging garbage. Now, the trick is you don't want to make things overly simplistic and therefore incorrect.
Right.
So what is garbage, right? Garbage includes garbage food, right?
Yep.
Garbage water.
Garbage media
chemicals,
like this guy.
Garbage thoughts.
Garbage thoughts like this.
Emotions can't be garbage, but when you identify with emotions and you fix them and they start running your life.
Oh my God, I got a
instead of just
misinformation
being
flag, of
something you
course.
experience, then they become garbage emotions. So,
Dude, this guy's this
in
guy's
my
piece
whole
of
career,
garbage.
if
That's what's
anybody
going
ever
on.
so Tom, do you think such and such has an emotional component? Yes. Do you think such and such has a physical component? Yes. How come you keep saying that? Like no matter what illness I say, I would say it has an emotional and a physical, whatever that means, component. And I would say, okay, show me where your emotions or your mind
I'm going to reset the live, guys.
and your body ends. Tell me where that is, because I don't see it in me. So which part of that is physical and which part of that is spiritual, meaning not physical?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There is no separation. That itself was a superstition that a guy named Descartes, he foisted on the world to throw you off, basically. And so now all the scientists believe it.
Oh,
they start trying to figure out which part of you is physical. It's a stupid question.
Yeah. One, I think that's the idea of like around separation, because in our society today, we've become so separated that a lot of these are self-induced issues. And one of the things you touched on earlier is basically our thoughts can create our reality, right? So from the physics standpoint. So
our thoughts can create our thoughts can make our own reality. That's incredible. So wow. Who would have thought?
Obviously, we've talked about the emotional state of one, and that can affect their well-being. So what does one do then? If someone is, for example, again, we've talked about cancer, obviously you're saying that chemo and radiation is making the issue worse from that perspective. So what
a actual sick person this guy is. Like and this is the reason why these people are so dangerous, is that people will forego actual medical care that would improve their life, and they listen to quacks like this so that they can sell some root powder or some nonsense to them, and they delay medical care instead of actually getting like genetic medicine that would actually help improve their quality of life, improve their chances of surviving. They go to quacks like this, and this guy makes money off of it. And then when it gets so bad that the person is about to lose their life, do you think that Cowan, this nonsense person, do you think that he has anything to sell them more? No, of course not. He's going to say, well, he's not going to be there, guys. Like they're going to go to the hospital. They're going to have an oncologist. They're going to have a physician. They're all going to be there to help this person through this trying time. And then if that person it comes out alive at the other side, guess what's going to happen? Now Cowan is going to come in again and be like, oh, well, like now I can send you, I can sell you some more stuff because you know what they did? Wow, they actually did something really dangerous to you because, wow, chemo, whoa, that's bad for you. So I got to sell you another pack. I got to sell you another thing. But when the time comes to it, they're not going to be there. This guy's not going to be there. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that person if they lose their life. Because if they do lose their life, it's they didn't do it correctly, guys. They didn't do it correctly. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. They never take accountability. These Cowan snake oil salesman quacks, they never actually take any accountability for what they do, the harm that they do. They're completely absolved and they harm people. They have blood on their hands, but then they sit there and make all the money that they can with unfounded claims that hurt people. It's insane.
Can one do if they're in that state?
So let me give you a different example of how thoughts create reality, because then I think you'll see the answer to that. And again, I'm going to ask you some questions here.
Sure.
Have you ever, or would you ever go to your neighbor's house and say, I need to put my...
Every single thing that he says is an analogy. Can he ever provide a mechanistic understanding of the world a single time? Why is everything an analogy with this person? I don't get it. Like, he doesn't actually speak any words. It's always just like some analogy that doesn't make any sense.
Child through school, so you need to give me $1,000 a year or I'm going to throw your ass in a cage.
No.
You've ever done that?
No.
Do you ever think you would do that?
Probably not. No.
How about you get 10 or 20 or 100 of your neighbors and friends, and this guy's got a lot of money. So you go to his house and say, look, we need to build this bridge, so you need to fork over $100,000 or we're going to all beat the crap out of you.
No.
You wouldn't do that, right?
No.
But that happens all the time, except it's not you who are doing it. It's a entity, interestingly called the government. They go to your house. Oh, you built a new deck on your house, so your house is worth more money. So you need to give us $1,000 a year more to send my child to school.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he talking about property taxes? Wait a second. He went from medicines to property taxes now, and now he's lumping them all together. What in the world? How did it? He's, in order to complain about medicine, he's now using property taxes.
I'm going to throw your ass in a cage.
Yeah.
Who is this entity that's called the government that has the authority to do that?
Yeah.
It's just some guy, right?
Yeah.
And he says, you guys got together, even though you agree that you don't have the authority to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not only don't you have the authority, morally speaking, nobody would do that.
Right.
But if you, quote, vote, right, and then you give your representative...
What was the quote, vote? If you vote... What was that? Because this happened in 2024. So it was like a month after the election.
Authority to do something that you would never do, then it's okay. Or I'm going to go to all these people and steal their property, i.e. their money, and I'm going to send it to this other government, and they're going to kill a bunch of children by dropping bombs on their head. Mm-hmm. Would you do that?
No.
But they do. This image, this superstition entity called the government, they do that all the time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
Where does this what's the solution to this? Some people say, let's get a better government, like better people, and so they'll drop less bombs on the children in Yemen.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Or no, they won't drop them on Yemen. They'll drop them on the Bosnian children because that's better, because we don't really like Bosnian children. So Yemen, they're good.
Yeah.
What is this?
So that's not going to do anything. How about if we just say, you know what? That thing doesn't exist. That is a morally indefensible superstition, just like a virus.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God,
so
dude. What? No way, dude. What? What in the... Hold on. ¿Cómo estás, boys? How did that was the craziest jump. The idea that the government the government's ability to dictate anything doesn't exist, just like how viruses don't exist. What?
Right.
And because we don't believe in it, we don't do stuff based on the belief in that entity. In other words, we don't go to people's houses and say, if you don't give me your property, I'm going to put your ass in a cage to do something that you don't even want me to do. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, who would do that? But that's how our world works.
Right.
Yes, Hazel,
And
exactly.
you can imagine where people are sick all the time. Because if you think like that.
Exactly, Ruben. That's the whole point. Like the death knell to this, like if it doesn't exist, if viruses don't exist, why do they all match all across the world, bro? All across the world, we find viral genomes and they all match. Like they match everywhere, dude. Why? Like, how can they not? How can they all be? And it's all the same viral genome. Think about that, dude. Doesn't make any sense.
People are going to get mad and argue, and then they're going to fight each other because they don't want you to steal their property. Not do that. You change your mind. They can do, because the example you're talking about, if this is stored garbage, you might want to consider not putting so much garbage in your house.
Right.
What?
Taking the garbage out faster, like coffee enemas or turpentine that help the body.
That he sells on his website, guys. All these things. Hey, if you wanted to do that and you wanted to, put it all in there, there you go. I can just get you everything that you need. The links in my bio. Just like here it is. I'm just there. If you just wanted to stay, healthy, just links in the bio. That's all. That's how easy it is.
Take garbage out faster. And sweat lodges, right? That's what they do. They sweat out the garbage. And
sweat lodges, dude. The sweat, like, dude thinks that you can just sweat out disease. Like, what?
This is not like radical therapy. It's like, that's what would make sense given the reality of what you're dealing with.
When I appreciate that, because we talked about the power of the mind, even when it comes to placebos, right? There's been a lot of research that's come out in terms of how people respond based on what they're told that's going into their body. And they actually respond as if that was true, which is right. And so there's a question I have around that too, in terms of, we talked about antibiotics as well. And just for the listeners, because I've also come to understand, completely detrimental to our gut microbiome and our overall well-being. But often that's a response to whatever ailment we may have. And I just want to make sure people understand that is not a solution and should be avoided.
Antibiotics have literally saved the lives of millions of people. Like, I mean, the idea that it's going to harm you or it's going to be bad for you and you should avoid it. I mean, these people are seriously like blood on their hands, man. It's insane. Hey, Open Mind, how's it going?
Question is, do bacteria cause disease? Right? That's the fundamental question.
Yes.
Here's the problem. This is a very simple thing to sort out scientifically. It's if I say hammers knock in nails.
Oh my God, another analogy, bro. Another analogy. That's all he talks in. That's all it is. It's some just analogy, nested analogy. Because remember, viruses don't cause disease. Now we're going to go through how bacteria don't cause disease too. Like they're not they can't be pathogens.
And you say, how do you know that? I take a nail and I put it against the wall and I hit it with a hammer and a nail goes in. And then I take my hand without a hammer and I go like this without the hammer and the nail doesn't go in because it may have been just the movement of my hand.
Right.
Or I may think nail go in and I don't hit it with the hammer. As far as I know, the nail never goes in. So I've isolated the hammer and shown that the hammer is the thing that makes the nail go into the wall, right?
Correct. And that's the thought. And it must be, that's the thought. You're thinking that it's going away, so therefore that's the power of the mind. That must be what they're thinking.
That's how you think scientifically. So you talk about bacteria. Bacteria are real, unlike viruses. So you
Why though? Why are bacteria real? I don't understand this. How can I really don't understand why viruses get like lumped in here. You know, like also like, are we talking about all subatomic particles? Like, are we talking about protons, neutrons, electrons as well? Like, there's no way. I mean, they have to not think that protons, electrons, and neutrons are real too, right? Because like we have tons. I mean, we'd have to have way more evidence for viruses than we have on protons, neutrons, and electrons, right? I mean, there just has to be more data there. So the idea, like it's just basically everything that's small that we can't see is in doubt, right? I mean, that has to be what it is.
take them and you can isolate them. So you have only strep, right? Then you can take a bunch of healthy people and you can spray the strep onto their throat or their mouth and see if they get sick. And then you can spray saline or chewing gum or a whole bunch of other things and see if you can isolate that it's just the strep bacteria that make them sick, right?
Right.
Then you'll know. Here's revelation number 3, or I don't know what number we're on. There is no study in the scientific literature that has isolated bacteria and exposed people or animals in the normal way and shown that they get sick.
What?
And if you disagree,
it has to be F1. Like, if he thinks atoms are not real, then size matters to him. It has to be. There's no way that he thinks atoms are real. Like, right? I mean, like, there's no way, because have we ever? You could say the same thing, right? Have we ever isolated a proton, or have we ever isolated a neutron before? Have we ever isolated an electron? Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to be like that. That would have to be his thing. I doubt that he believes that atoms are real, Ruben. I mean, he doesn't believe that lipid biolators exist, that DNA is real. He doesn't believe. Oh, Ruben, sweet. Why do you think that he would accept the history of atomic bombs, but then not accept the history of the pandemics? We've lost way more people to pandemics than we have to those atomic things. Right? I mean, like, yes, to
agree
believe
with that, and you think bacteria are making you sick, I don't want to hear what your Aunt Bessie said or what you saw from the, or your
okay,
doctor.
fine. That makes sense. That makes sense. Because, yeah, he had to have, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he doesn't believe that atoms are real. Exactly.
A study showing that's how it works. I guarantee there is none.
He guarantees that there is none. He doesn't know for sure, but he just thinks that so.
Or what you saw from the, or your doctor. I want a study showing that's how it works. I guarantee there is none. Therefore, that is not the role of bacteria. Period. Yet there are bacteria, right? So just like if you cut down a tree and you put it in some water, there'll be bacteria growing, or a fly dies or a mouse dies, the bacteria will come and biodegrade the mouse.
Right.
The bacteria kill the mouse?
No.
Maggots eating dead dogs, right? I've never seen that, but I've heard that. The maggots, did they kill the dog?
No.
Just because there's bacteria in your tonsils doesn't mean they made your tonsils sick. In fact, if you spray bacteria onto people's tonsils, they don't get sick. It's proven. It must be that something is making your tonsils break down, and the bacteria, thanks God, come and help biodegrade the tissue so you can make better tonsils. And if you kill them, it will stop that process. You will think you're better, but in fact, now you have nasty tonsils. And something else will happen to you. And that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
So you
I don't even follow, dude. I don't even get it. I still stay clear of this guy. He cannot be real. I know. There's no. I mean, he's super influential in this anti-vax, antiviral space, guys. It's crazy. He's like one of the big guys. He's one of the big ones.
You can take them all you want, and all it'll
He's
do
so
is
brave
you'll build up more.
because he's one of those truth sayers, guys. He's one of the truth sayers that's willing to say things that nobody else will say.
And more garbage, and nobody will put it together. Oh, why do I keep getting this? Or why I took antibiotics, and next thing you know, I got this tumor because your body said, I got to put the garbage somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh
So what
my
I'm hearing from you is,
gosh.
again, just
See?
another form of garbage that gets
See,
marketed.
it's like you've done something that he disagrees with, so therefore that's why you're sick. There has to be some reason why you're sick, and it's because you did the bad thing. As long as you've done the good thing, then you are healthy. But if you do get sick, then you have purposely, you yourself have gotten yourself sick, because I have never seen a sick person. Do you know what I mean? How convenient it is.
It differently, right? And speaking of that, you touched on the whole idea of alternative medicine, because that's it's becoming a bit more mainstream. But from your perspective, it's still a response to something that doesn't really require a response. Is that a fair conclusion?
They treat most alternative doctors and medicine. There's difference. Like homeopathy, no. They basically, most of alternative medicine is just repackaged conventional thinking, and they use turmeric instead of ibuprofen.
Right.
It's no different.
Yeah.
What? So he doesn't even believe in alternative medicine then? He doesn't even believe in medicine at all. Right? Because it's like, wow. That is wild, dude.
A little better because it's not as poisonous.
Right.
But the thinking is the same. They talk about engineered viruses, lab leaked viruses, and that's the sort of
Not
freedom
true.
movement and the holistic movement. And yet none of them can tell you how they know there's a virus.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question, Hazel. Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard, isn't that like the thetans and stuff like that? Like, isn't that the idea that what it is? The guy on the right, no, he's a discredited medical doctor that had his license removed for unwarranted. He was practicing and gave some person a medication that was completely off label, and they didn't even know it. So he harmed that person. He got his medical license removed, and then has been doing basically health coaching for the last 10 years. And he's a huge grifter online.
Which is interesting because
Yeah,
how do you
Tom
make
Cowan.
a lab created virus out of nothing?
Nope.
Yeah.
And they're not interested.
Wait. The lab leak is real to him. But how did the lab leak something that doesn't exist?
Which is interesting. And yet none of them can tell you how they know there's a virus. Which is interesting because how do you make a lab created virus out of nothing?
Exactly. So wait, what? So he thinks that the conspiracy is the lab leak. Like, he thinks that it's a double conspiracy. He thinks that the conspiracy is the lab leak pushing that's been created in order to fool people into thinking that viruses are real. Wow, dude. That's crazy. It's a nested conspiracy. He thinks it's so big that he thinks the lab leakers are in on it, and that's wild. Wow, dude.
Yeah.
And they're not interested.
Yeah. So I do have a question on that too, because you talked about it at the very beginning, the whole medical doctors and scientists. There's a huge issue there, and they're obviously your peers. So how do you feel about?
He's not a peer. Okay, he is a physician that graduated in 1984 in medical school. He has not taken anything or learned anything in 50 years, and now he's going to sit here and he's been like denying the entire field of genetics, molecular biology. and yet here he thinks he's a peer.
Like, how do you keep yourself grounded, knowing that your peers and colleagues, some of them, are promoting a false?
I am going to freak out. Like, I have seen so many, even in today, guys, like the even well-intentioned physicians calling themselves scientists, like on social media. And this guy thinks that he is a scientist. Like, I am going to explode. Like, even the best man, like the best intentioned physician is not a scientist, guys. Like, they are as much as a scientist as I say, like that my 5-year-old is, where they're exploring and trying to do, observations and collecting information, but they aren't doing actual research. So the fact that this guy just lumps this physician in with research scientists, I'm like, it's actually so interesting to me. Yeah, Afan, I feel like there has to be some type of way to, like, I mean, his medical license has already been removed, which is good, right? But he's still a health coach or whatever. The last 10 years, it's selling his snake oil salesman. So he's doing a ton of harm.
Falsified view of how our bodies work.
I just do me, whatever they think, and I'll point out why I disagree, and I'll let the chips fall where they may. I can't worry about what people think or what they say of me, or I couldn't care less.
And I appreciate that. What I'm curious about is, where do you
He cares. He cares, guys. He sells this stuff. He sells therapeutics. He sells things. This idea where he thinks that he's this nonchalant, like, I don't care, man, I'm just like out here doing my thing. He sells therapeutics from this website. This is his stuff. This isn't like he's acting very like, oh man, like I'm just out here having fun. This is him. Like, Dr. Cowan is a well-known alternative medicine doctor, author, and speaker with common sense, holistic approach to health and wellness over the last 3 decades, helping people heal through diet and natural medicines. Dr. Cowan has witnessed firsthand the healing power of a diet rich in vegetable diversity, nourishing fats, and wholesome grains and legumes. Like, his book, How and Why to Eat More Vegetables, describes why eating small amounts of a wide variety of vegetables is key to optimal health. He isn't just this, yeah, dude, I'm just doing me, bro. Like, he's making money off of this.
That conviction from, right? Where do you get that? Like, how are you able to in line and not feel like, okay, maybe?
I don't know. I obviously I'm a bit of a sarcastic guy.
Yeah.
So I've been in conversations with people, and they say, I know you're right about the virus thing. The people aren't ready to hear it.
What?
Right? So we have to tell the people what they're ready to hear. And so we tell them it's the lab leak and they should be scared. And all that.
My gosh.
And I will sometimes say, okay, so let me get this straight, because I want to be a good team player. So our strategy is we tell them that we're going to tell them the truth. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Right.
Then we realize that they can't handle the truth. Right?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, right?
Bro can't even read like a single scientific study, and he's going to tell us about the truth.
Like I sometimes say, there was one time when I decided not to tell the truth because I didn't know what I was talking about stuff, and I said to myself, I'm never doing that again.
Right.
Because I don't know what I'm talking about here. So it's like Mark Twain said. They asked him why he had such a good memory when he was like 88. He said, because I never tell a lie. Now, if you think about it, if somebody said, Tom, what color shirt do you have on? I'd look down and I'd say blue.
Yeah.
And so I'd say green or yellow. I don't know, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you end up like Bill Clinton and you can't remember anything. Because if you lie about everything gets so tangled up in your mind that you can't even remember like your wife's name.
Bro, he's projecting so hard. Think of this guy. Think of this, man. The guy doesn't believe in any modern scientific theory, he said. He doesn't believe in vaccines, DNA, cell membranes, viruses, atoms. And this guy but has it all figured out with health. And he has everything all figured out, and he knows exactly what you need to do. You just need to link in the bio. Link in the bio, guys.
Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
You just start lying, and then next thing you know,
But now he's going to tell us about the dangers of lying right now.
can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Because it's way too. So the answer to the question of why I start telling the truth was I didn't want to get Alzheimer's disease. So that meant if my shirt's blue, I just said it's blue, and that's the end of it.
I love that response. And fundamentally, it's interesting, right? Because I think
Dude completely has lied to himself. All these interviews since 1984. The dude has not learned anything. He's harmed people in his practice. He's created products that with unfounded claims that he's making money off of, and he sits here and this like, I don't care, man. I'm just telling the truth because it's so much easier. Like, think of the level of narcissism that you have to believe that you are on an island of one, but you've gotten it right, but literally no one else does.
time I've lied, it's just been really painful, and I've suffered immediately. So that can also be a motivator.
Because that's right. Because if he thinks he lies, then he's unhealthy. So in his mind, because he's healthy, he hasn't lied. Wow. That's amazing. That's unbelievable. In his mind, he's not lying to himself because he's healthy. So he hasn't. Wow. Exactly, Paniac. Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't have to believe in the idea that, I mean, God's going to punish me. I just have to realize that I'm punishing myself in the moment. Right?
Yeah.
So,
not fun.
Not
It's also
fun.
incredibly arrogant to think you have the right to decide what somebody else is ready to hear.
Yeah.
To be the arbitrator of what somebody else is ready to hear.
Back to the whole notion of money and power that you touched on.
I don't know if it's Scientology,
So,
but it's
as we
definitely
bring this to
something,
a
Jay.
close, I'm curious to understand, because everything you've shared here is there's an aspect of fear that's being put out there to the general public. And obviously people respond emotionally to fear. It's a survival mechanism. So what are your thoughts around that? Because like you said, a lot of these practitioners are saying, we don't want to tell them the truth because they're not ready to handle it. But instead we're promoting fear. And to your point earlier, also, whether it's war or diseases that are being made up, we're all responding emotionally and we're feeling separated from each other. Which is,
Dude, this whole idea, I've seen this a lot in like the debates that I've done. This whole idea that modern medicine and the scientific method just conjures up fear in people is so odd to me. Because think of the worldview that this guy lives with. He is fearful of every scientist because they are all in a cabal together working in order to delude the public. He's fearful of every single institution because they've all been in on this. Every single nation state has all colluded together in order to push this stuff. Every single pharmaceutical company, every single medicine, every single physician, scientists, healthcare worker, all these institutions that have existed, every single paper in scientific theory, every population genetics study, you know what I mean? Like every single thing in the world that doesn't comport to this guy's worldview, which is pretty much everything, he is fearful of. He is so fearful of that he is choosing to remain willfully ignorant of them and not even engage them at all. And now this podcast bro host is going to sit here and be like, wow, dude, like, how do you live outside of fear? You know, like, how do you, you know, like, whoa, you're just so chill and like, wow, you know, in reality, no one in the world is probably more fearful than Cowan on the right here. This guy lives in a constant state of fear, and he because he doesn't understand anything that's going on, and and the institutions are all systematically pressuring him to be corrected, and he is living in fear of his license, of the FDA, the federal government, you know, like all these things of basically cracking down on him. But now let's hear why he isn't the fearful one. He's a huge
issue.
Hear.
That's the strategy.
Yeah.
But that's not my way of going about life.
Yeah.
Wow, he's so brave.
Well, this has been a great conversation.
That's not my way of going out through life. That's it. Oh. It's Tom Cowan, Cowan. Oh my gosh.
I really appreciate you coming on here and imparting so much wisdom on us. It's been really enlightening for me, and I hope the listeners also appreciate your candid approach to everything and transparency. Thank you so much. I could sit here and pick your brain, and I would love to talk to you again in the future.
Dude, he doesn't pick his brain at all.
Okay.
For listeners that want to find your work, and I know you talked about your books, what are some ways they can do that?
Yeah, there's Dr. Tom Cowan, drtomcowan.com. And the New Biology Clinic is where we have practitioners who work with real medicine.
All right. I'll put that in the show notes, but thank you again.
Okay. Thank you.
Dude, what an adult, dude. Here you go, guys. This is it. Here we go. This is what he's selling. This is the whole reason. Look at that. Guys, marine drinkable seawater. $60. What, you don't want to live forever? What do you mean? You don't want marine plasma drinkable seawater? I guess you don't care about your health and you're okay to die. Like hibiscus concentrate, $40. Beetroot, $40. A water wand, $200. There it is. What in the fuck is this? What is this? Guys, what is this? For real. What? It's a tool that transfers regular tap water into its supercharged full spectrum coherent state. In regular tap water, H2O molecules move in a chaotic and irregular manner. Through a simple process, analemia radically changes the state of water by transferring the H2O molecules into a liquid crystalline structure. That structure and its remarkable stability have a profound influence on all living things. Analemma water loves the sun, so we suggest that you expose it to open sunlight at least once or twice a week. It will supercharge the effects and keep it that way. Oh my god, dude. No way, bro. No way. No way, dude. Oh my god, dude. Are you serious? This is the Life Power Platinum Shower Vortex head. $1,200. $1,200 to there's no way, dude. There's no way. $1,200. It's for a shower, so you could put it on the head of the shower head, and it's a $1,200 thing. No fucking way, dude. Aquadina. What is this company, guys? Oh my god. What the actual fuck, dude? Oh, I can't believe it. Oh my god, dude. Cancer and the New Biology of Water. Oh my god, dude. But this guy was saying that he doesn't have any skin in the game, dude. It's just he's just, hanging out, bro. He's just no, it's just him, making up we're just figuring it out, No way, dude. And of course he has a podcast. Oh man. Renee, he's basically recommended to me to debate, and a bunch of these anti-vaxxers on Facebook recommended him to me. So I had to look in, and I looked into him, and that was the best long-term the long form podcast that he did. So yeah. What an idiot, dude. What an absolute moron this guy is. I can't even believe it. It blows